The second thing we're going to focus on now is actually updating our database. So how do we go about updating specific entries to the database? If you open the module SQL example extract, this shows you a simple way in which one can actually update the database. So suppose we have a particular car, we want to change the value that it's worth. Remember, we entered in the database the price of a car. So this is defined here, unit price at 62,300, let's say. So once again, we connect to the database, as you see in line 23. So we're connecting to the test database, which at this point is created. And we can see that it's there if we just go ahead and update by pressing refresh, right-click on, and then refresh on SQL. You will see the test database is located there. So now it's been created. So in this database, so now we're going to access it through this connect command, light.connect. We're going to be seeing what information is there. And so we apply this with statement. We don't have to always apply the with statement. With statement is a way to essentially apply multiple things together. So opening and handling exceptions in particular. So this is a way that allows us to access data. If there's an exception to the access data, then that will be handled within the with statement. So it's used in this case. So with statements are a Python standard statement. You could look up more about them if you'd like. But they are similar to the idea of try and catch statements or exception handling statements. So essentially it's encapsulating all in one in the with statement. So as we did before, we open up the database using the cursor command. So cursor function after we get the connection to the database. So the cursor is launched here. Then we execute update. So this is where we apply the actual SQL command. So once again, we enter SQL commands as strings. In this case, we use the update function, which is an SQL command. We tend to tell it what we're updating, so cars, which is the table that's being updated. Set is another command, which means that we will set a specific variable called, which is the price, one of the categories we've defined. We give it to a question mark, because we will then define that price as an input. And then we also say where, so which location of which price, so that refers to the specific type of car that is price will update. So where references a specific car. So you can see the ID is also used, and in this case you have a question mark. So in both cases we're going to give it inputs, and that's why the question marks are there. So then the question marks are in reference to the price and the ID. So the ID was in line 17 as number 4. So what we're saying here is unit price 62,300 for ID number 4 will be updated. And so we can then commit that information. So that's all we said with this statement. And then we print that result out again, and then we execute a search. And then once again, we say the number of rows that are updated. So this will tell us how many rows have been updated in the row count in line 39. And then we do a search, a query using the select again from all cars. So we're searching everything in cars, in the sort of table cars. And then we're going to fetch all here in line 45, and then we'll print those results. So let's see what's happening. So we run it, Python run. So number of rows updated. So it tells us one row is updated. So that's coming from this print statement, line 39. Because of our input in line 33, where we're updating one specific ID with one specific price. And then when we do the search, we print all the results, as you can see in the loop defined in the for loop defined in line 48. And so we should see then number 4 has a new price of 62,300, and that is the case. ID number 4, which is the Volvo, now has a unit price of 62,300. And if we go back to what it was initially, which was in the entries, SQL data entry module, we'd see that Volvos were 29,000. So essentially what we've done is update the price of the Volvo input. And that's how you execute that as an example using SQL Lite.